Good morning. So it is day 8, I think 8 of the Black Author Readathon. It is 8 in the morning and I am just checking in to update y'all on my reading. I'm still listening to this audiobook. I have about an hour and maybe 20 minutes left. It's still phenomenal. I love this book. I love this couple. Audra is amazing. So I'll probably finish that soon and I need to find a new audiobook, which is like my thing that I say constantly on this video now. I finished the Readathon last night. I talked about that already. And I'm just like reflecting on it, and it's tricky because I feel like I can see what Joanna was like, the work Joanna was trying to do, but it just like it wasn't effective work for me at all. C'est la vie. I typically like, I think, her middle books more than I like her first books in series, and I'm excited about some of the other characters. So on my to-do list for today, other than finish that and find a new audiobook, is finish Wild Rain, because tomorrow is release day, so I want to post about it tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to post about today. I'll figure something out. So yeah, that is where I'm at for today. Also, I tried like a no heat curl last night, and other than this kind of like, I don't know, this is kind of a large chunk of only moderately curled hair. But overall, it went pretty well, and for minimal effort, I'm pretty pleased with the results. So, fun things. I think that might be it for my update this morning. I have things I need to accomplish. Okay, I will check back in later. I need to go get myself some breakfast. See you guys. Hey friends, I'm back at it with another late night reading vlog update. I need to stop staying up this late reading. It's fine, we're fine. Also my hair, sorry, update on very important things that you care about. My hair was like really nicely curled earlier, and now it's like A flat, but B it's been super staticky, so things I'm complaining about. Back to books. I finished, surprise surprise, I keep saying I'm gonna finish this soon. I finally finished the Here to Stay by Donna Herrera. I posted about it today. It's phenomenal. I loved it so much. Is that a Caroline? Yes, it is. Someone wanted to say hello. She hates me. It's fine. I finished Here to Stay. It's phenomenal. What else did I finish? Oh, I started, when I was like, I need an audiobook. I got The Marquess and I on Audible by Stacey Reed. It was a short novella. It was very cute. It was like a second chance historical hero and the heroine fell in love like a while ago, but then the LOL, me with my pickiness about my hair. Marquess and I was a second chance historical. The hero and the heroine had fallen in love, but her dad forbade her from marrying him because he was like a third son, and he's like, I want better for you because she's a daughter of a duke. And so after telling him that she'd marry him and saying she was in love with him, she like recanted and was like, JK, oh, there she is. JK, I don't love you, I can't marry you, bye-bye. So he goes to war, and somehow his older 2 brothers both die, and he becomes the heir, I think a couple years later, 3 years later. He comes back and he sees her at a party, and he's like, oh, it's the one, she's just roaming my room now. He's like, oh, it's the one that got away. But what you find out is that she's now blind, and the offer of marriage that the reason she turned him down was she did an offer of marriage, the offer of marriage she had from this duke is no, like they didn't end up getting married, and like the offer wasn't there anymore because she's blind. And so it's kind of them. What is she doing? Hi, baby. Aww. So it's them kind of falling back in love after this whole trauma. But what you find out is that his family is broke, so he has to marry rich, but she doesn't have a dowry anymore. But the only reason she doesn't have a dowry is because they didn't want people to marry her for her money and just like get over her being blind. Like they wanted someone to care about her. And so that's really only to protect her. But the hero doesn't know that. He just knows, I'm in love with this woman, but I can't marry her because I have to save my money and my family because we're broke. So there's that whole dynamic. But then also what you find out is that the reason the heroine is blind is that she regretted, little brat. She's literally just scratching my mirror. Sorry, my room is still kind of... She's scratching my mirror just because she hates me. It's fine. What you find out is the reason that she's blind is because she regretted telling him that she couldn't marry him, so she was going to ride after him to get him before he went off to war. But her horse threw her and she fell and hit her head and was blinded. So like this is a very short book, but it packs a hell of a lot of a punch. Really fantastic. This was my first Stacey read, really enjoyed it. I want to read more of her books. The other book that I finished today was Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins. And this will actually go out, I think, the day after it releases. So it will have been in the world for a day when y'all see this. I would probably give, the last one, Caroline is really unhappy that I don't have, that she doesn't have my undivided attention. I would give Stacey Reid probably a 3.5, maybe a 4, just because it was really short and so it was kind of hard to do everything that she was trying to do in the amount of time that she had, but it was still really well done. So yeah, maybe 3.5 to 4. Bev Jenkins was probably solidly a 4 for me. The heroine was really the standout. Spring is like so smart, she's capable, she's clever, like she's everything. The hero was like it was clearly a book that was crafted around this spectacular heroine, and so the hero was kind of like crafted to suit her perfectly, and he did, but it just meant that he was like very much like, oh, I'm gonna do whatever she wants, like I'm gonna kind of take care of her. And so like he wasn't as standout in this way, in the same way, because like I said, he felt like kind of created for this heroine, which was brought up in the first book in the series, so it's not surprising to me. But he was still really fantastic. And like the premise of this one is, I mean, I kind of set up some of this for you in the last video, but he has come to Paradise to write an article about her brother, who's a black doctor, and so he gets there and he's injured when he like first arrives in Paradise, and so Spring finds him and like rescues him and nurses him back to health, and so he's like in the process of that, and then also as he's like kind of getting to the town, the two of them fall in love. But on top of that, there's also like some residual kind of trauma that we kind of learn about in the first book, but what essentially happens is when she was 18, her grandfather was taking care of her, and he just decided he didn't want to anymore, and so he's like, you're gonna marry this rich old guy, and she's like, no, I don't want to, and he's like, well, if you don't, then I'll disown you, and I won't give you your own land, I won't do anything for you, I'll toss you out of the house. So she's like, well, F you, I'll do that then, and she goes to this other dude, Mitch, can't remember his last name, and she's like, can I work for you? And he's like, yeah, you work for me, but if you do, I get to have sex with you whenever I want, and also so does my son. And so that's like a whole toxic situation. The son like beats her. As soon as she can get out, she gets out, buys her own land, becomes a rancher, and she's like living her life, and then this whole thing with Garrett McRae coming to town, and so she's like kind of having to deal with the ramifications of this. And so like he's in town, but so is Mitch's son Matt, and Matt's like talking trash about her, and he's like saying that like the land that she bought because his dad's land foreclosed when the dad died and no one could find Matt, he's saying that like the land that she bought then was like gotten illegally, and so like he causes this whole trouble for her and ends up shooting Garrett at one point, and then obviously at the end he comes back to try and kill Spring and she saves herself. But also kind of what happens is, so her grandfather, there's that whole shitstorm with the grandfather, and Colt doesn't know about this, but Regan, Colt's wife, does. And Colt's like, oh, Ben's gonna die, and like you should like make it right with him before he dies. And she's like, actually, I don't want to, and I don't know how to forgive him anyways because of all this stuff that happened to me because of what he did. And so Colt's like, holy crap, like I had no idea. And so he feels terrible. And also I think Spring's in this space where she like wants to kind of have closure on like kind of the trauma that ensued, and like and kind of like, I don't know if she necessarily needs to forgive him. I mean, I think there's a part of her that wants to because of like this, like she did love her grandfather before all that stuff happened. So I think there's a part of her that like kind of wants to know how to make peace with the memory of her grandfather, and like to kind of close, I don't know, maybe to stop like hate. Anyways, it's complicated. But I don't necessarily think she like wants to forgive him or needs to forgive him. But then he like comes by her place and is like, I'm gonna leave you my land and everything I have. And she's like, why are you gonna do that? I don't want you to. I don't want your stuff. I don't need your stuff. But then when Matt comes to kill her, Ben shows up and like kills Matt, but as Matt also kills Ben in the process. And so kind of gets closure in that sense. It was interesting. It felt like I said, I was in love with Spring from the beginning. She was incredible. It did feel like the action was pretty choppy. Like you'd get like, oh, Spring is saving Garrett. Oh, and then they're just gonna like make breakfast and work around the farm or ranch, and then it'd be like, oh, like this new guy's in town and he's, where's Caroline? Oh, this new guy's in town and he's threatening Spring, and then be like, oh, and now we're gonna have Garrett go with Colt and talk about like pig enemas. That was a thing that happened. Spoiler alert. And so I think in some ways it maybe functioned better as almost more as a historical than as a romance, because I would say that the historical plot lines and the small town western vibes were just as important as the romance in many ways. And so I think for me, in my opinion, it didn't have as much momentum as I tend to like forward momentum furthering towards like a plot point. But it was beautifully written. I was in love with Spring. Garrett was a great hero. I would say Garrett's a cinnamon roll hero. Excuse me. That's a sign that I need to go to bed. Overall, great read, 4-star. I will be posting a review about that probably tomorrow. Back to the age-old question, what is my next audiobook going to be? Stay tuned and you'll find out. I'm in the middle of a reread of The Duchess War by Duchess War by Courtney Milan for Winter of the Wallflower. I didn't read today's chapters because I ran out of time. I'm probably not going to get to it before bed. It is what it is. I'll read it tomorrow. I don't have my next book. Oh, hello, monkey. Oh, of course. I don't have my next book picked out. I have a couple arcs that come out tomorrow I might try and start, but neither of them are by Black authors, so we'll see. I will touch base with y'all again tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hey, friends. Welcome back. It is day... Is it day 9? 6, 7, 8. Yes! It is day 9 of the Black Author Readathon / February. And I have actually, quick update first. One of my friends is moving and brought me some furniture she's trying to get rid of. So I have a spiffy new chair with a headrest, and it leans back. So upgrades, people, upgrades. But also I'm wearing makeup today because I'm about to go. I think we've got like 15 minutes until the romance booktube reading sprints, which I'm gonna be on tonight. Very excited, but I thought that I should, like, you know, make the effort. So today I started listening to Rafe on audiobook because Amanda has been, someone called her the conductor of the Rafe Love Fest, or like the Rafe train or something like that, which is true. It's factual. So I thought, because everyone's posting about Rafe, it was time for a reread. So I'm listening to that audiobook. I need a new ebook. I'm in the middle of the Duchess War for the Winter of the Wallflower, so that's what I'll probably be reading during the readathon. Not readathon, during the reading sprint tonight. But I'm gonna need to find, excuse me, now that I finished Wild Rain, I'm gonna need to pick up another book that I can read without like pausing for discussion in the Winter of the Wallflower Discord. I'm not sure what I'm gonna pick up yet. We will see. I actually need to look at my bingo board and see what I've accomplished with my reads thus far, because I haven't done that yet. So some things to accomplish this evening. I'll probably try and do a little bit more reading later. Also, I'm probably gonna finish Rafe real soon. So, but the other thing is, I got some book mail. So I thought we would do, as is now tradition, a little unboxing. Oh, it looks like there was a hole in this. Not great. Well, it's not a box, it's just a bag. Unpackaging. This was an eBay lot that I won. Oh, bummer, the bottom got some damage. Oh well. So I got 2 more Jennifer Cruises, Be Mine, and Maybe This Time. Oh, it looks like this is a anthology with 3 books. And this one is a full Jennifer Cruzy. So, I now have 4 Jennifer Cruzy books. These were like, I think it was like $2 plus like 2 shipping, so I couldn't refuse. To quote Preminger, how could I refuse? Danielle's gonna hate that. It's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna pop off so I can ready in time for the reading sprints, and I will check in again later. See you guys. Hey friends, I am popping back on. I didn't have time to re-update you last night. I didn't end up reading, I just worked and then went to bed. But today I have some updates because it is day 10. Pretty sure it's day 10. And so I, as predicted, finished Rafe and then moved very quickly on to Zenny. And I have about an hour left of that. I'm on like the last part. So I think I'll finish that tonight. I'm probably gonna be up really late working, so I'm gonna finish that tonight. I also got the next book and the book that comes after Writing Her In by Holley Trent. There's another book. I believe it's also a triad, but it's about a different grouping. So I have the next book in audio, so I am prepared this time. I know what I'm reading next. So I'm probably gonna start that tonight while I'm working. I haven't finished any other books because I haven't really been reading a lot. I've got a lot of work lately. So I think, but the next book I want to start is Ladies' Formula for Love, I think. It released Tuesday. and I have an arc that I have not gotten to yet, so I'm going to try and get that read so I can post about it and, you know, get that NetGalley percentage up. So that's probably going to be the next ebook that I read. Next physical book, I think I'm either going to try and start here. I'd like to try it and read another physical book, and I think I'm gonna go for this one. So the heroine wakes up from a coma and like can't remember the last 6 years, and like the only thing that feels familiar is her fiance Jonathan, and so like she kind of clings to him in this like time of tribulation. But the thing is, Jonathan is not her fiance. Jonathan's brother is her fiance, but he has to go to London, so he's like, hey, can you take care of my fiance? And he's like, yes, I can. And he's kind of had vibes for her, but she was a little too mean for him, and he kind of couldn't, like, he had to fight his attraction, not only because it's his brother's fiance, but he's always kind of had it bad for her, and now that she's like, can't remember the last 6 years, she's like kind of a different person, they fall in love, she remembers, obviously, at some point. That is the promise of the premise with the Amnesia book, but she obviously is going to remember at some point, and is going to have to grapple with that. So I've heard about this one. They wrecked it on Fated Mates. I'm either going to start this book, or I might also start The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. I know this weekend they're doing the Lunar New Year Readathon. I don't know if I'm going to be like aggressively doing that readathon, just because I'm already doing the Black Author Readathon. We'll see. Actually, let's be real, I'll probably get to both of these if I'm on my A game. And this is one of Milan's books that I haven't read. Ooh, my tea's ready, one moment. Believe me, I can do it. If it's all in my head, tell me now. Get it wrong somehow. Be celebrated. Would you tolerate? Okay, that took longer than expected. Whoopsie-daisy. Anyways, back at it. I'm reading The Duchess War right now for the Winter of the Wallflower. I'm loving it. I want more Courtney Milan. I think this is one of the few books of hers that I have not yet read. I think. I know it's one of the few books of hers I haven't read. I did also get this one signed. I got this through the Romancing the Runoff auction, and I had mine signed by both Courtney and Pele. This one, the hero is a duke. It is friends to lovers, childhood friends. The hero and the heroine were best friends as children. He like told her that he was serious about her and he would return when he was, and then he like leaves and is never seen again. But eventually he comes back to this town, and that's when things get real. So excited to check this one out. So yes, I'm gonna try and get this one read this weekend, sometime soon. These two are on my radar. That's what I'm hoping to get read. Ebooks, I'm gonna start that arc. A couple arcs I really need to read. It's fine. So that's where I'm at right now. In the meantime, in between time, I'm not sure if I'll check back in with more reading later. I may not. Like I said, I'm gonna be up late working. But since we're here, I'm really hoping, I added some milk, or cream I should say, and almond extract to my tea. Oh, and it's really good. Wow, bless. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that more. In the meantime, in between time, I have a Sandbox Mail. This is from Sarah from our Seasonally Booked Up squad. I don't know my knives this time. I'm just kind of roughing it with my pen, but it's chill. Ooh, what's this? Looks like it's a book. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this! It's Tessa Dare. Is this the first book in Spindle Cove? Oh my gosh, and it has a beautiful double page step back that I'm not going to, actually, I'll show you guys. We're homies here. I might actually use this somewhat soon. It's a great step back. But, I mean, just look at that. Like, that is gorgeous. I love the detailing on her dress. She's got a great brooch. The, like, neck caressing is quite a vibe. Also, the little phrase on the top says, "All's fair in bedroom battle," where a lady's passionate heart yearns to surrender. 100% vibes. This is the first one in the series. I don't own any Tessa Dare. I read most of her books. I think I haven't read the first series that she wrote. I've read most of her books. I love her books. They're just like charming, fun. Someone described her as she writes quirky books, and I think that is correct. I think it's a good call. But this is my first Tessa Dare book, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Sarah. I am thrilled. I might have to do a reread of the Spindle Cove series because it is a good one. Alright, so that is all for now, my friends. Like I said, I might pop back on later just to say hello. And if I've started, the other Holley Trent audiobook and I have thoughts, but for now, I will bid you adieu. Hey friends, I am checking back in for my reading vlog. Finally, it's been a really busy last few days with some work stuff and I have not been as present as I would like to be, but hoping to get back in the game now that a lot, like the brunt of several projects is kind of completed. So I'm checking back in. I don't remember if I said that I had finished The Duchess War, but I finished The Duchess War. Amazing as it always is. This was a reread for me. Yeah, there's just something about Cordy Milan's writing, and she's one of those authors that, like, when I haven't read her in a while, I somehow forget how much I love her books and how much, like, her writing style is just, like, beautiful prose and, like, really strong characters, and like it also has like lots of like social commentary on like power structures and class and misogyny, and it's amazing. So I read that for Winter of the Wallflower, so tonight we're gonna have this gonna be an Instagram live with Dana and Kelly, so I'm excited to check into that. So because I enjoyed this one so much, I am hoping this weekend to read The Duke Who Didn't. I think I might have mentioned that in the last video. I've heard such good things about this one, and this one is unique in that there's no third act breakup. So I'm very intrigued to see my thoughts on this one. So I'm hoping to do that this weekend. It is easier for me to read paperbacks over the weekend because, or at least physical books over the weekend, since they're harder to like read in bed, and I do most of my reading at night. So hoping to get to that this weekend. In terms of what I've been reading, I think I said I finished Rafe and Zenny. I liked both of them. I think the narration for Zenny was better than the narration for Rafe. I mean, Rafe was great, but Zenny, it was narrated by a guy who is like very clearly from the UK. Like, I could tell because of the way he said condom, even as the American accent, it was like, oh, this is a British person, or at least someone from the UK. And because Mason is Scottish, so that was fantastic. Accent work was great. I just love accents. They're so pleasant and lovely. Anyways, I finished both of those. I listened to another Holley Trent. This one was 3-part harmony. It's the second one in the series I read, or the one I read earlier, Writing Her In. It's the book 2 of that series, and it is with Raleigh, I think Raleigh, but like said Raleigh, just spelled L-E-I-G-H. Anyways, I listened to that one in audio. Raleigh is the publisher of Stasia, who is one of the triad in book 1, and it's kind of an interesting enemies to lovers situation because Raleigh ends up hooking up with this guy after a concert, and the guy ends up being a rock star. But he doesn't tell him that he's a rock star. And so when Raleigh finds out, A, that this guy is actually a rock star, and B, that he's a rock star who's looking to get a book published, Raleigh's like, oh, like, you were just using me. How dare you? So he's pissed, and he doesn't want to see Bruce, aka Theo, the pseudonym that he gave Raleigh, like, ever again. But then Raleigh's like work nemesis, it's not, I think Evelyn, I think her name's Evelyn, runs into Theo at some event, so they hook up, and they're dating for a while, and Raleigh's obviously jealous, but he's trying to be like, yeah, no, I just don't like her, like, we're work enemies, whatever. But then Bruce has to go back to South Africa for something, and so he essentially breaks up with Evelyn, but she doesn't, like, he doesn't think that it's like a permanent breakup, it's just like, I have to leave, but she does. So she is just sad and alone, and also is leaving her job at the publishing company because it's not what she cares about, and everyone thinks that it's just it is nepotism because her dad owns the company, and they're like, she's going to be the next big person in charge of the publishing company. She's like, I don't want this. So she quits her job, and as she's like leaving, Raleigh is like starts talking to her, and she's feeling mopey and sad. So they end up like picking up like hot dogs or something, and then they bang, and they are like about to start seeing each other, but then Bruce comes back, and Bruce is like, oh, I want to be with you, and then Evelyn's like, you're into him. You're into him. I'm into both of you. So like, we should all bang it out. And they do. And I enjoyed this book. I would probably give it like a 3-5. I do think that the whole we slept together, but then I found out that you wanted to use me for clout to get a project greenlighted did not work as well in this book. Like, that was already a plot line in the first book, and then they repeated it, and I was like, this is feeling too similar to the other book. So I didn't think that was very successful, because at least with like Stasia and Adrian, like they had established more of an emotional connection. Like it wasn't just a one night stand, like they were like close. And so after that betrayal, it like made sense that they would try and make it work. Whereas with Bruce and Raleigh, like, it was like such a temporary thing that like after they broke up, or after they were kind of like separated, I was like, yeah, they would not want to get back together. Like that was too big of a deal, and they didn't have the like trust and relationship yet. So that was like really antagonistic. And then like Raleigh's relationship with Evelyn, I really hope that's her name. It might not be her name. So it's like Ev something. Anyways, his relationship with her is like super antagonistic because they're like work enemies, but it's not in like a fun, sexy way. It's in like a, Evelyn is desperately, well, she's not desperate. Evelyn's really into Raleigh, and she just like wants to be helpful and like wants to like be good at her job, and like wants people to feel like she's not just there because her dad owns the company. Like she wants to be valuable and be appreciated. And Raleigh like writes her off and is like super rude to her and like doesn't engage with her. And so like she just feels like this kind of kicked puppy for a lot of the book. And then Bruce sees her, and they're like finally happy together. And Raleigh just kind of continues to be like really antagonistic and like not funny and just like sad and lonely and cynical. And I really liked him in the first book because he was like funnier and more fun. But in this book, it just like, he didn't work for me as much. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting, it was well written, and I enjoyed the audiobook, but I just didn't think it was nearly as successful as the first book. I thought the relationships were too antagonistic, and like, you really had to wait until the last like 45 minutes for them to be like together and happy. So that was kind of a bummer. I said I'd probably give it a 3.5. Wasn't quite what I wanted. To finish that, I have started Radio Silence by Alyssa Cole, and I'm really enjoying it. It is a like dystopian contemporary, it's a dystopian story I don't know if you guys ever watched or read the book A Girl Who Owned a City. I read that book, I think it was in grade school, and it like severely imprinted on me as a young person. It's essentially like all of a sudden every adult is like gone. It wasn't that they were like dead and their bodies were there, because that would be traumatic to read as a young person, but like all of a sudden all of the adults are gone and the kids have to be in charge, and there's like no power, and like there's like nothing, and they have to kind of build things from the ground up. And in that one, the like protagonist is like this young girl who's like industrious and smart, and instead of like fighting people, like she like wants to like build a school and like farming stuff. Although she does, I learned what Molotov cocktails are in this book because someone comes to attack her school / library, and she's like, not on my watch, bitches. And she makes Molotov cocktails and defeats them. Anyways, it is a really incredible, it's a really incredible book, but I'm talking about Radio Silence by Alyssa Cole. It has the same energy of like except it's specifically all of the power has gone out, and so people are trying to figure out what to do now that there's no like power anywhere. Thankfully the adults are still alive. But this one is about, oh gosh, Avery? Darn it, I'm really sucking with knowing heroines' names today. The heroine's name starts with an A, I know that. And she travels with her roommate, Josh, from like, I think from Richmond? I don't know, from some East Coast mid-level, not like near, actually I can't remember. She travels with her roommate, Josh, from like John, not Josh. Wow, really doing well with the names today. When the power goes out, they're in a big city and they're doing okay, but then things start to kind of get crazy. So she and John traveled to his parents' cabin near Canada, and it like takes them a super long time to get there. But the book like literally starts and someone is attacking the heroine, and John has been like hit over the head and he's injured. So it like starts right out of the gate with like such a huge bang, and then John's brother Gabriel shows up and like saves the two of them, and they go back to the house. And it's really interesting because in some ways it feels like suspense because the setting is so like dire, and there's this whole like, of course I said that the adults were alive, but Gabriel's parents went missing. They were like going to go get supplies to someone, they haven't come back, and so there's this whole like, we need to find our parents, how are they doing? Also this like looming like the world is kind of slowly coming apart because we have no power, and people are starting to like loot and like and so there's those kind of like looming big bads, but it's also like an forced proximity enemies to lovers, because the hero, Gabriel, is still really pissed at the heroine because she kind of like stole control over like which direction they were going right before they got to the cabin, which is why they were off route, which is why they were attacked. And John got a concussion, and like that's why they were in danger. And so he's like, you put my brother in danger, like I can't lose a family member, like I'm mad at you. And she's like, well, you're being rude, we were just trying to survive. And so there's like this whole tension between the two of them, and they're like very antagonistic towards each other, but they're like staying in the cabin together, and so there's this really delicious energy, and of course they're attracted to each other. And I tweeted about this today, but there was this whole like moment where like she is like sleepy, but she can't fall asleep. She either woke up in the middle of the night or she like never fell asleep, and she's like kind of like groggy and tired, but she's hungry. So she goes down to the kitchen, and who is there but your boy Gabriel. And so they have this really cute, like after being like super antagonistic, super mean to each other all day, they're like both just kind of like sleepy and like, oh, I need to get this snack. And they like talk to each other, and it's really lovely. And I want more of those like style scenes in a romance, because I feel like when it's like a really late night thing like that, like your guard's kind of down because you're like tired, your like emotions are high and like close to the surface because like you don't have like all of that energy to like, I don't know, like I feel like at the end of the day my ability to like temper any of my feelings like wanes hugely because I've just used it all up during the day. So like at night you're like you're so close to the surface with all your emotions and your feelings, and when you're like hungry I feel like like, I wouldn't say that you're like in a vulnerable place, but in that sense of like you're just looking to take care of yourself. And so like maybe like you're not like thinking about like, oh, this other person. Anyways, I'm diving into this a lot, but I just love that energy of like we're both like a little bit tired, we're like a little bit in our feels, and our ability to like BS and like put up a front is way down. And so you got this really, really cute scene. Anyways, that's what I'm listening to right now in audio. I'm hoping to finish that. I don't know if I'll finish it today. I might finish it in the morning. Yeah, I might finish that in the morning. I don't know what audiobook I'll get to next. I need to find a new audiobook, Story of My Life. I might try and do Awaken the Dragon by A.C. Arthur. It's on Audible and I get a new credit in like, I think 2 or 3 days. So I'm gonna try and snag that. I also might see what else I have at the library. But my next Kindle read, I'm hoping, will be, also next week for Winter of the Wallflower, it's a Cat Sebastian historical. I think it's The Ruin of a Rake. Very excited to read that. Or it's the Soldier one, I can't remember. It's one of those two. Excited for that, so I probably have to start that Sunday. My next Black Author Readathon book is going to be Coach Me by Shanora Williams. It is, I'm pretty sure it's an age gap. It is like a coach story in the title. I think it's also interracial, and it is also sports. It's also sports romance. So it covers all of those squares. I'm excited to get into that one. So that's where I'm at right now. I will probably check in again later tonight. We'll see if I have moved further along in my audiobook.